then finally, live from your heart. This is what makes you a productive person. This is what makes you a person that is wise and makes good decisions, is you live from your heart. And again, not from your emotions, but from a mind, will, and emotions that are submitted to the will of God. Mark chapter 10, verse 21. Looking at the man, Jesus felt genuine love. This is the guy that came running up to Jesus and slid down on his knees, and he says, "What do I need to do?" And Jesus says, "Stand up." Let's start there. Okay, stand up. Let's talk about this. "There's still one thing you haven't done," he told him. "Go and sell all your possessions," and it says literally, "and be giving to the poor." Right? This is something that now we'll talk, hopefully, if we have time, about. We're supposed to be strong for the weak. That is our calling. God makes us strong so we can be strong for those who are weak. And he's going, liquidate your assets so you can be strong for the weak. Be that person, right? "Go sell all your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me." So Jesus is looking at him, reading his heart, feels genuine love for this guy, but in his heart, he sees some weeds. He sees some out-of-bounds desires. Things that aren't bad in themselves, they're just bad for this guy because it's keeping this guy from hearing God. No show of hands. How many of us have said, I just don't hear from God? God just didn't make me that way. And I would argue that people are all different, and some people hear God more quickly than others. I would never argue with that. But if you're not hearing from God at all, where I would start is, okay, God, what's in my heart? I want to hear your word. Good news is he put it in print. You can read it. Right? That's how we hear God, is through his word. But if you're not getting anything out of it, it's a heart thing. Verse 23, he looked around and said to his disciples, "How hard is it for the rich to enter the kingdom of God?" So why did he say that? He's talking to this guy who's very wealthy, and all of his disciples grew up in a culture where performance was king, right? Where behavior was king. And this guy seemed to be doing everything right on the outside. And Jesus says, you missed it. So they're all going, if this guy doesn't make it, there's no hope for us. Right? So Jesus, looking at them and reading their hearts, makes a statement, how hard it is for the rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Verse 27, he looked at them intently. So as this continues, Jesus doesn't once and done, well, I looked, I read their hearts, and now I'll talk to them. No, he continues to have a conversation with them, and now he's looking even more intently. So if Jesus has to look intently, how important is it for us to read the heart? As Jesus looked at them intently, he said, humanly speaking, it is impossible, but not with God. Everything is possible with God, including healing, restoring a messed up heart. Because if you have a hard heart, or somebody that you know and love has a hard heart, or somebody you're trying to share the gospel with has a hard heart, we know from the parable that dumping more seed on it is probably a wasted effort. So what do? Right. You pray for them and say, God, till the soil of their heart. You speak to them in ways that would challenge them to, be a part of allowing that tilling of their own heart. They're missing out because their heart is hard. With man, it is impossible to fix the broken heart. That is the point. But in Jesus, he does that every day. Every day, every day, every day. All around you, that is happening. So for the person with a hard heart, it's to till the soil, right? The person with the unresolved rocks, the rocks that have not been removed, he's really good at doing it. He's good at identifying them and pulling them out of there. For the person with the weeds, they have to be willing to let go of the weeds. They have to be willing to be a part of the process. right? But God's really good at identifying those weeds and helping them see what they're not seeing. Now, I would love to tell you that no matter where you started in this, once you get to where you have a fertile heart, you're good to go the rest of your days. Is that the way it works? Yeah, I hope. No. You lose a loved one. What's the knee-jerk reaction when you lose somebody really close to you? Yeah, it's kind of close down and protect that heart. Your heart has just been deeply wounded. What's the trick? Okay, God, we can do this. This is really, 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 really hard, but we can do this. I'm in you, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay in you, and together you're going to help heal the wound that is now there in my heart. This is the journey. It is heart management from beginning to end. So productivity and prosperity flow from an open, whole, protected, and well-managed heart. And we don't ever stop. It's the journey all of our days to the very end. So before you try to do anything of significance in the world, make a mark, take a job, start a business, make a sale, lead a team, manage a project. Before you build a relationship with a friend or a neighbor or a coworker, before you fall in love or find a life companion or start a family or raise kids, before you influence or teach or mentor or lead or persuade, before you do anything that you want to make a difference in the world, before you do it, you have to learn to ask a question. How's your heart?